Hey, this is Brian Garrity, one of the producers of the Sexperts podcast, along with my partner, Matt Cole.
Hi there.
Before we get started with this week's episode, I'd like to give a special thanks to our guest, Noelle Peterson of On the House Comedy.
Noelle is a very talented actress and photographer, and you can also see her at the Push Comedy Theater in the Wiener Hole selling beers and slinging hot dogs.
Speaking of the Push Theater, we'd like to give a special thanks to the Pushers. We are students of theirs. If you're interested in learning about improv, sketch, or stand-up comedy,
check out pushcomedytheater.com.
If you have show topics or questions for us that you'd like to try to get on the air, you can reach us on Facebook at the Sexperts Podcast, on Twitter at The Real Sexperts, on Instagram at The Real Sexperts.
And you can email us at therealsexperts@gmail.com.
So without any further ado,
everything you are about to hear is made up on the spot.
Stay tuned for another episode of
The Sexperts. And intro music, and hi there, welcome to the Sexperts. I am your host, Dr. John T. Anise, CPM.
And I am Delilah Hayder, a local wedding DJ.
Yeah, oh, you play the hits, my friend.
I play the hits and I get the people dancing.
Absolutely. But there will be no dancing today because we have a very exciting guest for you. Just for you guys who are listening in who don't know what we do, we are the Sexperts. Every week we come to you live from a different location, sometimes the same location but with a different kind of theme.
Live in a recorded format.
In a pod clash, yeah. So what we're doing is we're going to bring you a bunch of different topics in modern sexuality, sexuality,
controversial topics. A lot of people are afraid to cover.
And romance, yeah. Speaking of afraid to cover, are there any songs that you're afraid to play at weddings these days? Because everybody gets so, offended by something these days.
Yeah, I stay away from anything that too many white people will dance to.
Oh, so if you play like a really white song, there are too many white people out there and it looks kind of KKK-ish?
Yeah, and it's just the awkwardness of the movements, the body movements, and the thrusting. You can only see so many dockers thrusting at you before it can put a little bit of a damper on your wedding day. And I don't want... Listen, one thing I say as a wedding DJ is I'm not going to let anything get in the way of your special day.
Well, speaking of dampering a wedding day, our topic of the day is Scissoring Gone Wrong. Scissoring Gone Wrong. And this is possibly about knife play, possibly about... We're going to have a special guest come on in just a little bit. We'll introduce her, but we're going to be talking all about the ways that scissoring can go so horribly wrong. I have some pictures. I have some diagrams. I even have a little bit of video, although we can't show you because this is a podcast and not a video, but...
It's something that it seems so simple.
I know.
But there's so many ways it could go wrong. And like toast.
Like the restaurant toast, or
no?
In Norfolk?
The actual act of toasting bread seems so simple, but there are thousands of ways it could go wrong. I've burnt myself numerous times.
And once you get burnt, you're going to get turned.
Burn me once, shame on me. Burn me twice, double shame on me.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we've done enough chit chat. Like I said, in a few minutes we'll be talking about Scissoring Gone Wrong. But I would like to introduce our guest for the day. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? Welcome. Hi there.
My name is Anise Marseille. I am an existential nihilist.
Oh, hi, Anise. Anise, I'm sorry, I'm having trouble with your accent. Anise.
Yeah, can you say that in American?
Anise Marseille.
Oh, wow.
Marseille.
And
so tell us kind of your background, your expertise.
Well, I went to a school of philosophy in Paris.
Oh.
And I've been studying it since I was 5 years old.
You studied philosophy at 5?
Oui.
Wow.
Jesus. I wish you could tutor my kids. My kids are dumb dumbs.
Well, the only philosophy I was getting at 5 years old was from the man with the yellow hat.
Is that the guy who touched you?
No.
Who are you talking about?
The guy that touched Curious George.
Oh, the storybooks. I only read Amelia Bedelia, which I later on in life found out, maybe because I'm somewhere on the spectrum, that she was just doing everything wrong. You tell her to pitch a tent and she would not get an erection in her pants. She would actually throw that tent.
I never read Amelia Bedelia.
No. So you're probably more of an Ayn Rand person. Who do you read?
Well, when I was a child, I read a lot of Madeline.
Oh, well, that's a storybook.
It turns out that she is actually a small person. She is not a child at all.
Wait, you mean like she's a full-grown adult?
Like a dwarf?
Oui.
Oh, now you're being offensive. They don't call them dwarves anymore, I don't think.
Well, who can keep up? Nobody changes their mind more than little people.
We don't... Listen, I am... You know that she's a little person.
I understand. And I will call you whatever you'd like to be
Yes,
called.
what would you like to be called, by the way?
You can call me petit person.
Petit person.
You are, sometimes our guests leave the show and they're like, who was that asshole? He was really grinding my gears.
Can I ask you a question? Should I call all dwarfs petit persons now, or
You do such a good accent.
specifically for this dwarf?
You might need a bit of work on your French before you go around calling petit person.
Well, not every dwarf is French.
That is very true.
Oh, wow. So is it one of those words in French that means different things to different people?
Petit person?
Yeah.
I kind of crushed it that time.
It is getting better.
Thank you.
I've got to admit, it's getting better. We're getting better all the time.
This is perfect because I don't think I've told you my latest wedding gig.
Yeah.
Is actually a French woman marrying a American man.
No way.
Yeah, and I told them, look, between now and then, I'm going to work hard to francophile myself. Francophile myself.
Well,
So I've been doing all things French lately. I have not used deodorant in a month. I have ceased all dental hygiene. And my cowardice is at all-time highs.
you've been eating a lot of cheese lately, too. I think that's what's stopping you up.
Yeah. They call it the fromage.
Is he right?
Oui, it is called fromage.
So I want to talk a little bit more about, speaking of French things, we'll get to, our topic of the day, Scissoring Gone Wrong, in just a little bit, but I want to hear a little bit more from you. Compare cheese to your own worldview.
Cheese, it has a lot of flavor, but not everybody appreciates it. Mm-hmm. So your life goes unappreciated by many people.
I would imagine as a small person or petite person.
You're getting worse.
It's a roller coaster. Okay. I would imagine that what seems like imagine what we see a block of cheese. It's not intimidating because we're bigger than it.
I've never thought of it that way, but yes, you're absolutely right.
It must be like what an ant feels next to a blade of grass. Can you talk a little bit about the intimidation factor when it comes to cheese? And your size?
Well, it seems that a very small cheese would be scared of a very big person.
Oh, yeah.
But the small cheese has the biggest flavor, and it ends up scaring the big people.
Oh my God! Can you sew that on a pillow for me? The smallest cheese has the biggest flavor.
I can. All French people are good at needlework, so
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I hate to make sweeping generalizations, but it's true. Well, speaking of being scared of really big people, I really don't want to forget to get to our topic today.
And our sponsor. Speaking of really big people, one of our sponsors for the day is the Jolly Green Giant Green Beans.
Tastes like it came off the farm. But hey, dummy, it's frozen. There's a reason why your peas are cold.
God, you make me want to eat my vegetables.
Well, I was always disturbed by the Jolly Green Giant. He seemed very handsy when it came to sprout.
What are the crops in Paris? What do they make there? What are their exports?
We also have the legume, the green bean.
Oh.
But we cook them individually. Every bean at one time. That's how it gets all its flavor.
Oh.
Every bean at one time? That sounds like the opposite of individually. I don't. It's a culture thing, I guess. Yeah.
It's a multiculturalism thing. You're not going to find that in Russia.
Because when you first said every bean at the same time or at one time individually, I was like, wow, you must cook all weekend.
Hey, girl, how you cook? One bean at a time. One bean at a time.
Which must result in a pretty awesome product because different beans would have different textures. Some would be burnt. Some would be slightly undercooked, al dente, if you will. Whereas my beans, they're all the same. kind of a metaphor for this country.
So, you said you're a nihilist. Is that correct?
Oui, an existential nihilist.
An existential nihilist. Tell me just kind of more about what that means, actually. I have no idea.
When I saw she was short and said she was a nihilist, I just thought she was kneeling.
She can't help but kneel.
And I thought existential nihilist, she must die if she stands. So, yeah, please enlighten me.
Yes, please.
Well, we believe that you have full control over your life, but nothing that you do actually matters. So you have control, but then it doesn't matter at all.
So it's like a universal remote, I guess? Because you have 3 of those, right?
I do.
And it doesn't really matter which one you find because they don't do shit.
I'm going to have to get off my fat ass at some point.
Wow. Is that an accurate metaphor, or would you like to go back to the cheese? What metaphor works for... I'm still trying to wrap my head around existential nihilism.
Well, I think the best example would be a bee taking a poop because it happened, but you don't see it, and you have a hard time proving that it happened.
Oh my god!
This is maybe one of the weirdest things that's ever happened to me.
Yeah. What is it? What? Did you just poop?
No, I
think he grabbed you. You unstopped him. He's been eating so much cheese lately.
I've never ever once.
Yeah.
I'm 68 years old, and never once have I considered that bees poop. Right?
Yeah.
Today, twice in one day, someone has mentioned bees pooping to me, and I don't know what to make of it.
This is quite the monumental.
The first
thing.
one was an American. The second one was a French existential nihilist dwarf. Petit Person. Do you think you'd have such a depressing worldview if you were fully grown?
That's...
God, you are offensive. Like, you got any brains in that small head?
Not saying she's not intelligent. She's just depressing.
The thing is, all French people are pretty depressing. Everybody wears black.
I've seen their fucking movies, yeah.
Oui.
That's true. There's nothing more depressing than a silent French man trapped in a box.
Oh, God. Remember our guest who just churns out the mimes?
Mimes make the all-time worst podcast guest.
So, all right, you've come to our show, and speaking of all-time worst podcast, our topic of the day is Scissoring Gone Wrong, and I'm saying all-time worst because I am mortified looking at these pictures. This looks like that show. You remember that show, Unsolved Mysteries? That show freaked me out when I watched it, and these pictures of Scissoring Gone Wrong are just freaking me the hell out.
It makes me think of America's Funniest Home Videos.
Do you have maybe like France's Funniest Home Videos back where you're from?
Yes, but it is all bad things that happen.
France's most depressing video.
That's where I recognize you from. That you were actually on France's Most Depressing Home Videos. Can you explain a little bit what went on there in that scene?
We had a child trying to cook dinner for her family, and her hand fell in the pot.
Her hand fell into the pot. Oh,
wow. Speaking of hands falling in the pot. Scissoring Gone Wrong.
That's right. When two people start scissoring, do not put your hands in there, because I'm looking at this chart right here, and the number one cause of scissoring accidents is hands.
I would like to see a hand transplant surgery in my lifetime.
Yeah, I just watched that show called The Nick, where it's like old-timey surgery. They used to have like an auditorium where you could actually listen in and watch live surgeries, and that's crazy. Like,
if there was one like that near my house, I would quit every job I've ever had.
Because you would just, as a hobby, Just watch surgeries
I would watch
all day.
surgeries all day and then bum money for Boston Market afterwards. Why Boston Market? What else are you going to eat after watching 15 surgeries in one day?
That's right.
It's not going to be red meat.
Boston Market, one of our sponsors today. Boston Market, what else are you going to eat after 15 surgeries? That's their tagline. Thank you so much for the $5, Boston Market. Well spent.
We let them get away with $5. I thought we were charging $7.75 now.
Well, see, I'm more in charge of the audio equipment, the audio engineering, and you're more in charge of the
Marketing.
and the
sales.
the sponsorships. And getting the guests involved, which you're such a lovely guest, by the way. Can you just talk a little bit about what you're wearing? Because it's pretty interesting.
Yes, I am wearing a horse head because they are actually the most existential nihilist animal there is.
That is such a relief. I thought that was your head.
Yeah, that was kind of freaky. 'Cause somehow you make the mouth move when you're talking.
I worked very hard to get it accurate as possible.
Well, puppeteering. I guess, like, to be a nihilist, you have to be part puppeteer, part philosopher.
Which gives me kind of an idea. I don't know if it would play here in America,
Yeah.
but certainly would play in France. What about a nihilist circus? Circus. There's no T at the end of that. I mean, if you're a believer in a nihilist circus, then you'd be a nihilist circusist.
I mean, we do have Cirque du Soleil, which it gets pretty nihilistic.
Does it really?
Oui.
But I'm thinking something with like flogging of animals. Puppeted animals, not real animals, obviously.
You were about to hit everyone today. The National Dwarves Association, PETA.
Well, if the dwarves are upset, just let you know that Cirque du Soleil will be hiring, and we're going to need a lot of little people to fill those animal crevices that we're going to be flogging.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and we're going to go into... I always like little games and stuff. I'm in charge of the games here. So we're going to play a little bit of games.
Segments of his imagination.
And I forgot the name of that, yeah. And now, introduce me, please.
Let's give it up for Dr. John T. Anise and another segment of his imagination.
Okay, so we're gonna. I'm going to show you a couple of ink blots, and you're going to tell me what you're thinking of that it looks like, and I'll tell you if you're right or wrong. Okay?
Okay.
All right, and here's number one.
Oh, that looks like a petit person, but she has the hands of a regular person.
I feel like I'm here with the French Mr. Ed. Monsieur Ed.
That was incorrect. Actually, I did this ink blot, and that's just a refrigerator. That's a refrigerator right there. Okay, let's try number two.
Easy miss.
And maybe I'll put these up on the website. This is not a good idea for a segment, is it? Because it's kind of visual.
Yeah, and we'll put it on the website. We're also on Twitter now.
Oh, okay.
The Real Sexperts.
Oh, yeah. And
at the Real Sexperts on Twitter and Instagram.
And if you want to send us a question that may get on the air, please send us your questions to therealsexperts@gmail.com. Let's go into this ink blot right here. What do you see?
That is a wheel of brie.
A wheel of brie. Actually, that's pretty close. This is actually Journey singing "The Wheel in the Sky Keeps on Turning." So that was actually real close. Can we give her half credit for that one?
Yeah, I'm not even sure they have Journey in France.
Yeah, your rock bands need some work. All right, here we go. Number 3. This is the last one. You have half a point.
I actually see the little girl who lost her hand in the pot.
That's right. Yes, ding ding ding. That is right.
Wow, she
oh my god,
crushed that
is great.
That is one smart dwarfed horse.
So you actually won because we haven't had anybody else play that game. I think I'm gonna retire that game too. Can you go ahead and play me out for this?
Segments of his imagination.
Oh god, I'm glad we have that recorded. I think we're gonna use that for our intro music. Okay. So, what are you here to plug, by the way? We usually have guests come on and plug. So, but
Speaking
first,
of plugging.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of plugging, we haven't gotten to our topic of the day, which is Scissoring Gone Wrong. So, and I am just amazed at how many people every day call me, text me, send me, messages through, the Mac iOS.
I don't know. It just bothers me.
But actually, oh God, we're running out of time. Okay, just real quick, what would you like to plug?
I would like to plug the new nihilist circus that is happening in Paris.
Did you just start that?
Oui.
Just now? I see you texting there underneath your horse
I
head.
am getting people together to start
You
it.
stole my idea. He's French.
No, it's sorry. Well, thank you so
It's
much.
fine.
You have been such a great guest. You look great. I can't wait to see you in the Cirque du Soleil. Well, yours was Cirque du Soleil, and yours is Cirque du...
It will be Petit Personne, but we are dead.
And I would have named mine that, but I couldn't pronounce it.
I like your title better. Okay, well, thank you so much. We don't have any time for the topic of the day. Maybe we'll get to it next time.
We'll post the pictures.
We'll post the pictures online.
Do not do anything that
Please.
you see in any of those pictures.
Please do not.
Listen, one of the most important things we do here at the Sexperts is keep people safe.
Yes, absolutely. So keeping you always safe. We are your Sexperts. My name is Dr. John T. Alani, CPM.
And my name is Delilah. Hey there. And get ready to chicken dance, people.
See you sex time.